There you go. Good job.
Gudas.
Octeau.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Capri zoning board of review. This time here, I'd like to point out the fire exits.
It was over when I went by the first time, and I said, oh, let me tell her.
Fire exits are to your rear, the exits to my rear taking into the building. Two fire exits are to the rear.
Created a tornado.
This time here, I'd like to, motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
You want to do a roll call?
No, that's a roll call, I'm sorry. Correction. I'd like to have a roll call done, please.
Bob Krug,
Yeah.
Denise DeGrade. Here. Ginny Susie. Keith Cloutier.
Here.
Russ Lockley.
Here.
Okay, let the record reflect that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members to conduct business. Okay, again, the fire exits are to your rear, and the two are there. And this time here, I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes of last month's
So
meeting.
moved.
Second it.
I have a motion made by Russ, and seconded by Jenny. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. This time here, I'd like to do ratification of last month's decisions. The first one is Mahoney, Chase Road. Ratification didn't approve a modification of special use permit to add 5 additional parking spaces to the approved parking lot.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we ratify that decision.
Second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nays? Ayes have it. Next is, decision ratified, it's Gudas, 57 Isle Capri Road. Ratification and decision of special use meant to expand an existing non-conforming structure and a dimensional variance with side setbacks and lot coverage. The relief is sought to rebuild and expand an attached garage. Do I have a motion on this?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we ratify that decision.
Okay, I have a motion made.
Second it.
I have a second.
I make, approve with the stipulations.
Approved with stipulation.
We're just ratifying the decision, yeah.
Ratify that with stipulations. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Next decision is Octeau, 102 Reservoir Road. Ratification of a decision approving a dimensional variance to a side yard setback requirements to build a garage and a breezeway. 23 feet from the side lot line where 40 feet is required. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion, we ratify that decision.
Okay, I have a motion to ratify.
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, jumping to, business of new or old, just so anybody's here for it. Riverview Nursing Home has been continued to October 2nd, 2019, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, the application of Mr. Perry, 29 acres room line, has been withdrawn, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Guniston.
Gustini.
Gustini. In 1887, the London Turnpike, that has been continued to next month, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the one we have open for business tonight is Capri, 50 Indian Trail. Now, this has been already read into the record, am I correct?
Yes, because they didn't attend a planning commission meeting, so it's actually been continued since July.
Yeah.
It was July.
At least twice.
Yeah.
Is Capri here?
I know they were at planning last week.
What do we do now?
It's your pleasure. You can continue it over, give them a month to appear, which I would, I mean, they weren't here before, not because they were ignoring this, but simply because they hadn't gotten the planning commission approval, so this really is their first failure to appear.
Can we flip-flop? Let these people go first, and then maybe these people show up later.
You can absolutely do that. Just
give
move
them
on.
Just give them I figured,
Okay.
Maybe they'll show up.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to note that the application for 60 Rebecca Street, Barben, is also going to be continued to October 2nd, 2019 due
Thank you very much.
to renoticing.
That's, so anybody here is for that, that will be continued to October 2nd. And then also, just going on the agenda, we have the
Next one is,
zoning board of appeals, Chattel, and that will be continued to October 2nd, 2019. So everybody's here for that. Okay, so at this time here, I agree with Russ. Let's do Lacombe, read that into the record.
The applicant is George and Susanna Lacombe. The owner is the same. AP 34 Lot 7, 7 Osprey Drive. Zone is R20. Existing use is single-family residence. Proposed use is same. Applicants is seeking a dimensional variance to build an addition 7.5 feet from a side lot line, where 15 feet is required, a special use permit to expand a non-conforming structure, and a dimensional variance to exceed 20% lot coverage.
Is the applicant here? Please step up to the podium and give your full name and address.
Susanna Lacombe, 7 Osprey Drive.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand. You swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
Okay. Did you get the correct information? I did. Okay, in your own words, I'd like you to tell me exactly what you'd like to do.
We are in desperate need to make our house bigger. We are a family of 5, but I have 3 teenage boys, and we are tripping over each other, and we have no storage in our house. It was like a camp house that has been added onto, but not up to date. It's also needs major restorations as far as roofing, and there's other safety issues. So what we were hoping to do was actually take 60 square feet from the pond side and remove that and add the square footage to the street side. Where it's non-conforming is my current 2-car garage, and what we'd like to do is make that a living space and then add a garage onto that existing garage. So we'll make the current garage bedroom and more living space, and then add the garage onto that. So we've gotten approval from planning, we've gotten approval from DEM, and we have approval from all of our neighbors. So now we just need approval from you guys.
I'm gonna open up questions for the board.
Just, I put this together for the board if you'd like to look. So this is the proposed layout that the applicants are suggesting. And just to give you some frame of reference, this is the area where the existing garage is generally located. Bear in mind that I'm doing this in Adobe, so it's not all accurately measured to the foot, but so that's the approximate location of the existing garage, and these are the locations of the proposed additions.
and street orientation, Brian, would be where?
To the left of
Okay,
what you're
to the
seeing
left
on
of the
that.
picture. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're taking away 60 square feet from the pond. we're getting rid of that because there's safety issues with how it's
I
done.
have heard that reference multiple times, but none of the materials that were submitted to me show me exactly what's being removed.
What part are you getting rid of?
See where the proposed, where it bumps out?
At the bottom?
Yep, at the bottom.
Yep.
I'm gonna still have that, 60
If you wanna
feet.
walk over there,
Okay.
that'd be fine.
Be careful, the screen's touch sensitive, so if you touch it, funny things happen.
So basically, this is what it looks like, however, part of this, I'll say it's over this, hangs over and it's on poles, and it's being held up with poles, and it's been like that since.
So it's a deck kind of a thing?
No, it's my bedroom, actually, now, they're gonna.
So
move
it's kind of
that.
on stilts then?
Correct.
Right.
So that is going to all be removed, so that will be 60 square feet from that. So it probably would be over more, it's gonna come back. So it's still gonna, this is gonna be level.
You're gonna cut off the end of it?
Yes,
Okay.
that's basically, we're removing that. So we're gonna add space here, which we need the space, we have no closet space, we have nothing. So this is exactly about where our two-car garage is here. We need to make that bedroom area and whatnot, and then a garage.
Presently, how many bedrooms are in the house? So you're gonna make 4? Okay.
We've gotten the DM septic approval, we have them, they approved all this.
And you have city water down there, right?
I'm sorry?
You have city water?
Yes.
As it's configured now, how close is it to the pond, that bump out?
I think we can,
That bump out is existing, they're taking away the they're
Right.
going away from it.
No, I understand
Very
that.
close.
No, I understand that, but as it is now, how far is it from the pond?
10 feet?
Look at-
Really?
so,
See-
the
see-
drawing
see
is,
on the
the
top?
drawing is flip-flopped now
See where it says Flat River Reservoir, Denise?
Yep,
on the
There's
left.
a little bump out on the
it's
top.
up on the top.
It's
Oh,
like right
wow.
on the edge, right on the edge of the water.
Oh, wow, okay.
Used to be 30
It was
feet.
built, well, it's
Well,
built like that.
been forever, yeah,
That's
yeah.
an original structure.
Right.
Where's
Don't
that
touch
supposed
any
to
of that. Well, actually, we're coming
Off of
away.
Island Drive.
So you're cutting that whole bump out off? You're gonna square up the back of the house?
No,
We're gonna square
Where,
it here.
Okay.
Justy
Some of
lives?
this is coming off. This is, how to explain, because this is, they're on stilts here.
right.
We're gonna cut that back.
See, I told you.
I know.
No,
Okay.
if she's saying that she's cutting off.
I'm just asking what's before and after, you know?
So this accurately represents what's there now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is showing as 11 foot wide.
Yeah,
She says she's removing.
We're removing
6
Right.
feet of it.
square feet.
So they would be removing like the end 6 feet.
Mhm.
of that.
right.
And we're making it level, because now those stilts have us hanging off, which is original to the house.
Isn't it 30 feet for DEM?
30 feet for what, wetlands? It's 50 feet.
Yeah, DEM's
But this
approved
is-
everything.
This is
This
existing
structure is well
non-conforming.
before DEM's wetlands regulations, so.
I was exempt, it will say in the paperwork from DEM, yeah.
Mhm.
Now, I'm kinda confused with, on the plan, it says perimeter wetlands. Is that part of the house, wetlands?
It was, that's why we had DEM come out, and we are exempt.
Right,
It says
that's-
it in the paperwork.
That's the 50-foot perimeter wetland mark.
Right,
If she's removing structure inside that line, DEM's not gonna have a problem with it.
right.
If she was trying to extend the house closer to the pond, DEM would have a problem with that. So long as she's taking stuff out rather than putting stuff in, they're not gonna have a problem with it.
So you're gonna take out that section where it says wetlands, or you're just gonna leave it alone?
No, that's, we can build on that, we're exempt. If you, I have the permit. We've already gotten the full permit for building from DEM.
They're
Yeah.
not exempt, it's what DEM calls an insignificant
It's already there.
alteration.
That's
Because
already-
it's already
This is
developed.
this is gonna be, part of the addition.
That's what I'm saying, this is
On
the
the
addition, this is
backside.
being added on.
Right,
Right, but I was just confused where it
they're
said
cutting
wetlands.
off this closer to the
They're
pond.
cutting that out, but they're gonna add this on, and because that's within the wetland perimeter, but they're saying
She's
that
exempt
she's
because
exempt because,
this place existed
It's in-
before wetlands, DEM developed wetland markers.
But it's really not wet, it's just what they consider wet.
It's the 50-foot buffer.
It's a
The
it's a jurisdictional wetland, meaning by state statute, DEM has jurisdiction over everything within 50 feet of the edge of the pond. Whether it's wet, dry, paved, doesn't matter.
Right.
And it's paved now, but
What is the percentage of coverage, lot coverage?
I had it. The existing percentage of lot coverage?
What will it be?
Okay, well, let's do it this way. So my estimate, as best I can get it from the drawings and everything that were provided to me, is that we are slightly over 35% existing lot coverage, including houses, decks, paved driveway.
the pond side of
That's
my
existing.
house,
Existing.
Oh, so we're gonna be the same, or we,
No, it's going to go up.
the front part of my pond side is all decking, and we had to include that. We can't live out there, we can't, it's just, when we bought the house, that's the way it was.
It's going, by my calculations, the new configuration will be a little over 37%. They get some help because a good chunk, if not most of the garage extension is going over an existing section of asphalt. They had an asphalt turnaround adjacent to the existing garage.
so we're 35% now, we're gonna go to 37.
Correct.
We're gonna go 2% more.
Correct. But in a sensitive area next to the pond.
Repeat that?
But in a sensitive area next to the pond.
But it's on the street
Well,
side.
anything next to the pond is a, you know,
But it's on the street side, it's not anywhere,
they're not
the
approaching the
pond.
pond any closer.
no, we're taken away from it.
And we're spending an extensive amount of money doing this. I'd like to see it staked out. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
It is staked out already.
It is staked out?
It's been staked out for months.
I'm sorry, I did not have the opportunity to go look at it. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
It's
I
been
wouldn't mind
staked
seeing
out
it.
since July.
Is that the rear setback? Is that right? It's 2 feet?
Currently?
Yeah, 2 feet?
Yeah, well, where that extension is, where she's talking about, is pretty much right on the water line, so she'll be pulling back a little bit off of that.
Were you seeing setback on the side is 7.2, and you're saying 2 feet?
He was talking about the rear, I
The rear setback.
Off the water bar.
Oh, off the water, I get mixed up between the front and the back, you're right, I consider that, yeah.
I consider that the back, but people who live there consider that the front.
Right.
Okay, so the rear setback is 2 feet, where they're gonna cut that,
They're gonna come
So
back about 6
That's gonna be
feet,
gaining there, so it's gonna be more like
So
6
what-
feet or 8 feet.
8 feet,
Yeah.
maybe,
8 feet, so that's
10
gonna-
feet.
that's gonna be less intrusive in the wetlands. I'm trying to think of how else to do this.
But the wetlands is not, it's not really wetlands, it's paved, it's my walks, my steps, it's my pavement, we drive on it, that's not true.
But I'm looking at the
Wetlands.
house, the way the house is structured now. I don't see another way of doing this to make it less intrusive and for them also to obtain use,
It's just
good
that
use of the structure.
our house needs a lot of work, and I don't, like, we need to get started on it. It's, oh.
Any other discussion from the board?
So they're gonna need both a special use permit and a dimensional variance on this.
Right, because you're expanding a non-conforming structure, so you automatically need a special use permit. And because they're expanding into areas where you're making the non-conformances more, they need the dimensional variances.
Now, this is a non-conforming lot, the whole thing, correct?
Right,
No.
it's a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot.
So, and we've looked into, because that changes the rules and regulations too.
Yeah, they're not, it's a non-conforming structure because it doesn't comply with the setbacks for a non-conforming lot. So even the reduced setbacks applicable to non-conforming lots, it's exceeding those already.
Is what? I'm sorry?
When we have a lot that's non-conforming for area or road frontage, they get reduced setback requirements based on a chart in the zoning ordinance.
Correct.
So this structure doesn't comply with those setbacks. So it's a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming lot. It's both.
Is that because the garage was 11.5 non-conforming to begin with instead of,
Right, the
15?
non-conforming side setback requirement for this lot was 15 feet. So both the north and south sides are non-conforming.
Okay, the addition where the driveway is, what's that gonna be, strictly a garage?
strictly garage, and then the old garage is going to be a bedroom.
Okay. And the other addition is, that's gonna be just living space?
Because it's very narrow. My house is very narrow. And with 3 teenage boys, you need all the space you can get.
It's coming back, yeah.
It's done now,
I think it's good.
you know?
I just would like to take a look at it.
Yeah.
So I know exactly how close it is. to the lines. Now, 7.2 feet. Now, what's that, a 2-car garage?
3.
3-car garage.
Well, we have no storage on the property, so we're gonna need another bay for. And I have 4 drivers already, so.
Well, if we made you put or if you suggested put another garage storage space someplace else, I think that would only make it look too busy. And
I don't think there's any room with the septic, because the septic's going on
that's
the
a
right
problem
side.
too, because you got at least some open land there where the septic is and everything else.
Yeah, it's been staked out, I think, since July, the very beginning of July.
Well, that's up to the board if they wish to vote on this tonight. I personally would rather go and see it, make sure I know exactly what I'm voting on.
Roll it over so we can go see it?
That's what I suggest, that's my opinion, huh?
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Okay. Ginny, how do you feel? I mean, Denise.
Yeah, that's fine with me. That's fine.
I agree with that.
Russell?
That's fine.
Okay, so this time here, we're gonna, have a vote to continue this to next month so that we can go out and see this. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion's made by Jenny, seconded by Keith. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay, we're gonna go out and take a look at this, and,
Do I have to
like you
wait
said,
till?
you got it staked out, you got the newer garage addition staked out and the other piece staked out, and also stake out where you're gonna chop off that 6 feet on towards the water?
It's all staked out. It's been
Okay,
staked out
it's all
to
staked
a
out.
month and a half.
All right. I thank you very much. Is anybody here who'd like to speak on this application? For or against it?
You're for it, aren't you?
I'm for it.
Who'd like to come up and speak on the application?
I'm for it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we continue this, application until October 2nd meeting, giving the board a chance to go visit the site.
Okay.
Second it?
Motion's made and seconded. All those approved, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you want to recall Tatry? Nobody else is here.
We can,
I would suggest you kick it over,
I kick it over to next month.
and if they don't show next month, just dismiss it.
Do I have a motion from the board to continue this to next month? Russ, you making that motion?
Yes.
Do I
So
have a
we have to
second on
come-
it? All those in favor say
Come back
aye.
next month?
Any nays on this? None, continue to next month. Thank you. Any other business that we have in front of us tonight? No?
I think that's it,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. Just FYI, the Chattel matter may or may not be here next month. As I think I explained, there was a consent order entered in court giving the Chattels some time to address the problems. Pursuant to that agreement, they have until September 27th to finish their work. If they satisfy the terms of that agreement, the only thing we'll be doing here on the 2nd is asking to dismiss the notice of violation.
Okay, I mean, that's gonna be totally controlled by you and the court.
Yes, sir.
All right, also, just looking at the future schedule, first, meeting in December, I will not be here. So, you know, ahead of time, Brian,
Okay.
and, so we need full attendance for that. And,
Is there anything in the docket to replace our missing member yet, Brian? Have you heard anything?
I've mentioned it to the planning director and the town manager every time I see them.
Okay.
We need to get that chair filled. And
Nobody wants to join us.
my understanding is they have some applications. I
Oh,
don't
good.
know why they haven't acted on anything. But maybe I misunderstand. It's above my pay grade.
okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion made, seconded by Jenny, rest of it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Jenny.
Ayes have it.
Jenny,
Thank you all for coming.
Jenny, do you wanna just call her?
I'm coming back.
Do you wanna just call her? Oh, okay, alright.
Jenny, if you want me to give you a ride home? I got the dump truck though.
No, that's all right, just pick me up, because she got flying on that, jujitsu.
All right.
So, is that how you make a big hit with the ladies?
Yeah, pick them up and dump them out.
Or she dumped me out at this age, probably not gonna get back up anytime soon.
We're still,
Just 3?